What's up, everybody? Welcome to HV-MTL Forge live gameplay day 21. This is Other Space FM. I said that completely backwards. We're going loony. It's been such a wild month. Sean, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, man? You've
Uh,
definitely been grinding. I saw you up late last night, and that's not the usual hours that I see you up.
bro, I stayed up all night. I only slept 1 hour. That my brain is loopy right now. We'll get into it because I'm in contention for a legendary, and it's been just a wild battle. So
Yeah, dude.
uh,
That
it's been
must be.
wild. No, just
Well, I
shout out
mean,
to the whole community, man, for coming through too. We'll talk about that in a second, but just the leaderboard voting component in the last part of the season has become absolutely insane. Everyone's trying to figure out their pecking order, where they're landing for their first amp, and
mm,
it's a lot, man. So, how's it been going for you so far? How's your grind been going?
it's going well. I'm just sorry. I want to pull up some tweets that I definitely want to be able to share, but
Oh, nice.
the grind's nice. I'm taking it easy. I'm solidifying myself in a couple epics, which
Nice.
is great. This is what I wanted to pull up right here. Shout out to Other Side
Yeah.
Wiki, always keeping us in the loop with some fresh data. So
With
current
the quickness.
thresholds, yeah, current thresholds for amps and heavy metal as of today.
Ooh,
So this is the last day of season one,
right.
right? And based on your rank and how many seasonal points you have. So right here was just an example. So it says I'm in contention for an epic amp, 418 points, and if I was so that lands me an epic right here. So rank 244th, and the epic range is 134 to 1067. So I'm feeling pretty good with this. You know what I mean? If the
Right.
cutoff's 384, I pretty much solidified my ranking in Epic. I don't think I'll be able to get 483 unless I magically get more points that are available.
Right.
so
Yeah.
so legendary's out. But if you are at around or near 285, you are on the brink of
Hmm.
a rare. So I hope everyone that's on the brink is able to just get that edge today. A lot of people are grinding.
Yeah.
And then some people are solidified in their ranking and they're starting to distribute and maybe they have multiple heavies. So they're starting to distribute to those other heavies, or they're selling their votes, or they're giving them out to community members and other friends that are on the brink.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of angst, and people want to be able to secure everything that they've been working toward this season. And so I kind of want to throw it back to you, dude. You started off the season pretty strong, and you were in contention for the legendary almost the entire time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, up until a
I
few days ago, I just remember being on the stream with you, and you're a little disheartened because you're dropping ranks.
bro. So I should take a swig of my sponsor Modelo here real quick. Um, I gotta hydrate. Bro. All right, let's start with this. This game has been wild, and the entire time my Reaver 594 has been in contention for legendary the entire time. But 2 or 3 days ago, it started dropping drastically, 14 points, then 12 points. And I went from 80 something to 110 in a matter of days. And I just thought at that pace, there was no way that I could, lose, there's no way I could get into the legendary tier. I thought based on like dropping that many points every day, I was for sure out, unless by some magical moment, miracle kind of thing that I could get a 50-point day. and NFT Traveler had this idea yesterday, like, hey, there's 2 days left on Twitter. We knew that it was crunch time. We saw that post that Sean had just shared, that Frosties had been making, and getting an idea of like how many points were needed in order to accomplish what. So like as I kind of am sitting here thinking, oh my God, this is where I'm capped out at. I just hope I can sneak in by the skin of my teeth. NFT Traveler suggested I tweet out, "Hey, if anyone hasn't started their heavies, you could delegate to me." And lo and behold, I was granted access to a good amount, which I just grinded. Where I posted a picture in our Discord last night. I was
I
playing on
haven't.
3 separate computers simultaneously. Yeah, this is the image of what the workstation looked like last night, and each laptop was running multiples, the desktop was running multiples, pushing it to its limits in a sense. And I'm not kidding you, at one point, bro, like hands crossed, like you'd play the piano. I'm like boom, boom, boom. I'm doing this kind of thing, just constantly like boom, boom. So even right now when you're talking, I have a laptop over to my right and I have so many different screens and I'm still just hitting the builds and getting that up because
Damn.
yeah, it's just I really at this point too. I mean, that workstation is just bro. So I'm trying to figure out like how many points do I need to secure that legendary? And last night, so many community members just like rallied behind the call of like, hey, I need a little help, and people were throwing votes to 594 all night. I
Love
was
it.
able to
Love to
to
see
trade
it.
a bunch, and I ended up getting over 275 votes yesterday, which was enough to put me at 21st place.
275.
Yeah.
I
So
love this
that
right here.
that
I
was
love
it,
this
man.
post right here. It's heavy metal rally time. The cap is flipped inside out and the sunglasses are on. Appreciate all the votes sent for so far. Vote 594 and help me stay in contention for a legendary amp. This is cool, man. You're creating content around it. Um, you got some artwork. This
Well, like
this looks like an AI baseball for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, gotta stay true to my AI roots real quick. But, there's a lot of ways to play this game, and I had a lot of people messaging me like, "Hey, I'll sell you 160 votes for X
Yeah.
amount of money," and I for every
So
single
yeah, why
person, I
didn't you
said,
go the sale route? Like,
"Well,
you know,
here's the main reason is even if I were to buy as many votes as I could afford, I didn't know if that would be enough to get me there, so that risk reward
mm,
wasn't worth it, right?"
that's
So
true.
I thought to myself, you know what? I'd rather give it my best effort, put all I can behind it, and if I fail, I can fail proudly and say I tried my
Yeah,
hardest, And the
that's
fact that community
commendable.
members showed up and were given love, like you did, Merkle Tree did, so many others just sent votes just to help me get there. And I think it's part of that community ownership, right? Like when I get closer to that legendary, so many others feel excited because they're helping that become a reality, right? And so that was kind of beautiful to see a lot of communities members step up. And to be honest with you, like a lot of friends were just there like, "Hey, I got you with votes," and
Yeah.
that was really really special. So now just staying in it. I'm currently 14th for the day at 88 votes for the day, and I'm gonna chill for a while. I'm not gonna do any voting anymore till this evening.
You kind of
Um,
don't want to be in the top 10 for right now, right?
yeah, I
Because
don't want a
you
target
don't
on
want to
me.
make yourself a target for
Mm-mm.
downvotes. I think the downvoting is going to be crazy today.
Today's gonna be wild, bro, and that
So,
was my
yeah,
whole tactic yesterday. Stay at the middle, like, just stay in the middle. You just
yeah.
where you blend in and no one could see you.
So, what's your strategy as you kind of round out the end of the day?
Oh,
Like,
man.
what do you plan on doing? You're gonna obviously kind of work to keep up in the rankings, right? You got to get some votes in. You're likely going to get downvoted, as you probably have been since your top 50. And
Right.
then what's your game plan kind of like up to the daily leaderboard reset and the end of
Well,
season one?
So if you look at the seasonal, right? I'm 82nd for seasonal today at
Okay.
492 points. Look how
Yeah.
many people are tied for 492,
Yeah.
right?
There's a
From
lot, right?
74th all the way down to
Yeah. 96.
96. So 22 people are tied, or I'm tied with 21 others, right?
Yeah.
So
And
that's
by the way, real
intense.
quick, it gets even more like the lower you go, there's even more people tied. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
exactly,
it's kind
exactly.
of
So,
crazy.
Frosties was saying the average I need to get is 27, and I'm like, you can't. That's an impossible number. So I can get 24 or 30
Yeah.
points, and that puts me at like
Look, gotta
basically
love
I'm shooting.
Frosties.
I
He's
know.
because he's given the data. He's like, look, you're gonna need on average, people are gonna need 27 points, and, and that's you're either gonna end your day with 24 or 30, dude. It's gonna be one of
Yeah, that's
those.
the so and to get 50 twice in 2 days would be.
Woo!
I think it would be doable. Like, don't get
You
me
gotta
wrong.
aim for it. You gotta aim
I
for it.
I'm aiming for at least 200 plus votes today as well.
Damn,
For
bro.
my 500. Well, I already have 88 and I haven't even pushed out many of my votes, right?
Oh
So I'm
shit.
I'm I'm sitting in a very nice way right now, but really now it's also the last day, so I'm making sure that I can get uncommons for all the people that have delegated to me, right? So
Yeah,
it becomes a
yeah.
balance of appreciation where I want to make sure that I hook them up for letting me play, right? So,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I don't want to give them so many votes to give them a bunch of commons that I fall from legendary to epic by accident, right? So
Well, because it's a
it becomes
window,
a
right?
balance.
Like I've even done the math on some of the ones that I was that were delegated to me. And when I got delegated, which was about a week ago, um it was going to be very difficult unless I put all the vote energy into their particular heavies. And most of them were just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not playing and I don't have the time. And so, here's some voting power and you can increase the forge capacity on my heavies.
Right,
And I made sure like to score points with each of them. But it was way out of the range of even a rare. It was like, oh wow, this is gonna be I'd have to grind full time on this heavy to like, make sure to increase it.
right,
So
right.
so just to be able to get uncommons for a lot of those, I think is definitely commendable. And then the forge capacity, which is going to carry over into season 2 and season 3, which I want to talk to you about, but if you were to kind of go back from, like, let's say season 1 was about to start tomorrow,
Yeah.
what would be advice that you would give yourself after experiencing everything up to this point to keep you in contention for legendary, or even be realistic with yourself to be like, hey, if you want a shot at legendary, this is what you're going to eventually need to do.
Yeah. I think the most important thing now looking back is kind of seeing where that bottom number is for a lot of tiers and then seeing what I'm comfortable with the most, right? Like a legendary is a grind, but a homie in our Discord today said that he didn't realize he was in contention for an epic. He had just been showing up, hanging out on Discord, playing with the homies, and kind of looked up and went, "Oh shit, I'm in contention for an epic," right? So the consistency every day, making sure you put a little bit of time in, will probably be way more valuable in the long run than someone who goes super hard 3 or 4 days but doesn't play the whole time, right? So I would rather play
I
one
like that.
hour every day than like 4 or 5 hours every so often.
Okay. I mean, shout out to A1 who's in the chat right now, because that story you just shared is something he shared with myself last night, where he was just like, yo, I even have a heavy. at first, and just hanging out in the Discord, hanging out with you guys. I was still up to date and I got one, and then ended up just getting my votes. And all of a sudden, I'm realizing I'm in contention for an epic,
Right.
and I've just been doing just maxing out my votes for the day. But because it was consistent from the jump, I think that kind of goes to show like how much it can pay off. I do believe that if you have a heavy, like try and get more than 15 points on the leaderboard
Yeah.
every single day. And it's more important to do it consistently than it is to try and hit like a certain day where you just max out, even though those will really help, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's
That's
it's
good.
interesting, man, because now like realizing the point structure is weighted as it is, like it's more about securing daily points than it is about getting a ton of votes, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
what about yourself, Sean? What's something that you would look back and go like, "All right, this is truly something I wish I knew at the beginning of season 1."
Oh, you know what? Um, and shout out to Slump who said, "Bro, I'm fucked. I started 3 days late, so now I get second. I get I need to get second for top 133. So that's a little too much, right? Like to get second place, that's going to be tough. Um, for me, I think it's actually carrying over to what I'm anticipating for Legends of the Mara. And that is maybe seek out some of the people who have assets that don't actually have the time to play and see if there's a way I could connect with them and play on behalf of them as well.
Right.
That's
Right.
been one of the most. Now, granted, I didn't do that for heavy metal. However, I think as people were all discovering, maybe this wouldn't have even been possible, because had it not been for people trying it out, seeing how tedious and grinding this game kind of ended up being, then maybe they would have played, or maybe they didn't play because of the way the game was. So
Right.
you got to give people the opportunity to like try it out. Even the ones that were delegated to me right now, I'm revisiting the conversations and being like, all right, season 2 is about to start. There's going to be new meta. Like, here's an opportunity to like continue to play, because we can undelegate at any time. You
Right.
know what I mean? I'm not getting paid for this,
Right.
right? And people are charging to play for them. So I think there's value in being able to partner with each other, and the whole delegation system is something that's very interesting to me. There's pros and cons to it. But I think I would because it exists, I would lean into what are some of the advantages I would get to have certain assets that are delegated to me. So with additional heavies that are delegated to me, I know there's some people that have heavies that may not necessarily play every day, or maybe there's a group of people that I just want to get real connected with, so that we can make sure we're all managing it well. And I
Right.
think that's the other thing is like, man, it was really difficult to get a real trusted group at first.
Mhm.
Now, granted, we had other Space FM's Discord, so it made it way easier,
Yeah.
because you got to see who shows up. You got to see who's actually sharing, sending votes back, who isn't, who's real flaky, all that exposed. And so, because of that, now I'm approaching season 2 with like a much wiser lens. You know what I mean? So I feel like, one, is there an opportunity to delegate, or receive delegate assets? And that's one thing I'm kind of like doing my best to demonstrate how I'm invested in playing and doing well, and what my strategy is, being transparent with my strategy, um, so that I could earn credibility and trust through how I'm playing the game. And if
Right.
someone like saw like, oh, this is the way Nana is approaching the game, like, yo, he's on point, then you can delegate it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where like I'm working toward that. And hopefully maybe with Legends of the Mara, that could be the case. Right. Because if people got deeds and they're like, oh shit, this is way more complex than I anticipate. I can't show up every single day, etc. Well, they would know that, you know, there's going to be people like myself, like you, who will be, you know,
Yeah.
and that could actually prove value to both of us. And so that's kind of one thing I'm going back and just reflecting on is like, you know, yeah, who else is part of the community that's part of this or even owns assets? Maybe just kind of do a quick check and be like, or tweet it out, just be like, hey, if anyone's like worried about, you know, not being able to participate every day or doesn't have time for it, let me know. I know that it's way more helpful if your network is connected and you know you have like certain group of followers, but and it's
I
much
mean,
harder if you're starting this from scratch. You know what I mean?
I was say, but it's still possible because we saw
It is.
Festige, find someone who delegated over, 50 some to him, and that wasn't a
Yeah,
known person to him. That was a relationship of hustle, and I
it
think you're
was. And
absolutely right. Like
persistence.
you see the effort, right? Like I'm it's very interesting to me, man, how you had mentioned, who we've started to trust over the 21 days, right? Like 21 days of spending this insane amount of time with people, you really get to gauge who's legit, who's not, who is putting in the effort, right? And who's putting in the time. Um, it was quite interesting yesterday when I did a call to help, across the network that I've created, who jumped into action without anything really, and who said, "Nah, sorry, I can't help you," and I don't think people may realize this or not, but in sometimes when things happen like that, there's a bigger picture kind of thing happening, and with certain people who had been talking about wanting to work closely with other Space FM, just quickly to go like, no, sorry, I can't help you. But other people who want to step up, really stepping up, and all of a sudden you have to be more aware of someone's presence because they stepped up when not everyone else did, and it's a very
Bro.
I think it was
It's
very impactful to see who stepped up and go like, okay, you got my back, I got your back next time.
yo, that's part of, yeah, building a team building, like that's all part of it. You have like trust, you have generosity, you got times when your back is against the wall and you kind of need some help at times. And then also you may feel compelled for someone who had stepped up in the past to just be like, yo, I'm there for this person regardless. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't think, you know, it's another it's very manipulative if people are helping to do something kind of like in anticipation for you to help them. You know what I mean?
No, 100%,
Like
and
you,
and that's what made it so much more special is that
yeah,
most everyone gave so willingly, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, to the point where some people were sending it and letting me know afterwards, "Hey, I sent you a gift because, I wanna help you get there, and these 2 votes or this 1 vote is how
for
I can
sure.
help you get there," and that was very special.
Well, dude, it reminds me of me getting my board ape, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember just letting you know when I saw that you had some, and I remember that I missed the mint because of, you know, what happened with family at the time, and I was just like, yeah, I just haven't been at it. I missed it. We were both anticipating this mint, and you know, when I offered to buy it off you, you were like, dude, I got you, man. And you know, you gifted me Millie 2338, and you didn't have any sort of expectation. Like you were just like, happy birthday, congratulations on the baby, get
Yeah.
get well soon for your mom, you know, all that stuff. And I was like, dude, thank you. And you know what? Like it's even at that time, you know, it was only it was worth like a couple $100, but to me it was like it reinvigorated my creativity,
Yeah.
right? Like where I'm like, oh fuck yeah, dude, I can't wait to build. We're in the same club. There's a cheetah gang community, like all these things that it just fulfilled me at the time. And look how it's kind of circled back, not even directly like where it's like, oh, you gave me this much value and I was able to get you that value back. It
Right.
just continues to exchange over a period of time. And that's something that I love.
Yeah.
It really goes to show like what are some of those things that spark that gesture of kindness, and how does that actually pay it forward when it comes to building a culture around something? And I feel
Well, and
like, yeah, go
go
for
ahead.
it.
I'm sorry. No, no, no. Please, you finish, and I'll go after.
I just feel like that has actually been something that has almost kind of been a value pillar in how both of us have been approaching this space. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like try and weed out a lot of the negativity, the shit that's draining our energy. But at the same time, it's like, yo, when we get to do something that we're passionate about, that we value and love, I think I'm very privileged to be on this journey right there alongside you. You know what I'm saying? And
No, I
and
agree.
both of us are doing our individual things, and we both have like our individual networks. A lot of things cross over, but I think I think that initial gesture has just kind of come back and forth in so many indirect ways. You know what
Oh
I
yeah.
mean? And
Absolutely.
perhaps that extended even prior to the gifting of a board ape. But what I'm saying is like all of this actually has a cause and effect in the future, and it can actually ripple out to the rest of the community to grow the community. And I feel like there's a lot of that that's happening through this game, but especially through
100%.
other space.
Well, and dude, and the ripple effect, and this is what I was kind of gonna piggyback off of, is like, the ripple goes like, okay, you and I started, we both threw a rock in the pond together, right? We started our ripple when we started Other Space FM. And you don't realize who's watching you, who's paying attention to you, right? Because just because we engage with whoever we engage with on a daily basis doesn't mean there's not a lot of other community members who are passive experiencers of social media, right? They're not actively participating. And so when Sean had said earlier, like, maybe reach out to somebody and see if they could delegate to you, you would be absolutely shocked by who is more aware of you than you may think. Especially if you're putting effort out there, right? And you're putting positive energy out there, and you're making a positive contribution in some space. Like the people who allowed me to
Mm,
take over some of their heavies, I don't speak with very often, right? Like I didn't
yeah,
know that they were we speak casually every once in a while, but that's a lot of trust. And so that's built upon them
same,
going, "Hey, I'm
same.
watching what you guys are doing, and if we can't trust you guys, then that kind of thing."
Well,
And it helps you feel like this is just for me, speaking on my end. Sometimes you wonder if you're bringing any value. You get that imposter syndrome a lot in this space, right? Like, yes, it's all
yeah,
fun and games when I'm wearing a pink ape
for
head, but
sure.
I'm still a person under here, uh, sometimes.
That
And so,
hasn't slept.
bro, I'm so delusional. But the whole point of what I'm saying is be nice to everybody, because first off, you don't know who anybody is online. And
Yeah.
secondly, you don't know who is watching what you're doing, right? So you take those two things forward in life, you'll be pretty well off, I think.
Yeah, I like it. I like that advice. First of all, saying what's up to some of the people in the chat.
Yeah,
It's
let's
good
say
to
what's
see
up.
you all. Vicky,
Can I sleep
A1,
yet?
Nifty. I
No.
know, like, I feel bad because a lot of us have yet to, we've definitely been a little sleep deprived because this requires you to check in on your shit. But I'll admit, I brought it upon myself, taking on more heavies than I
Yeah,
probably should.
yeah,
So, but that's okay. I'm learning from this.
yeah.
But I hope everyone's good. It's the last day of the season.
Oh,
Um,
you know what I do want to say, Sean? Something when we talk
yeah,
about delegation, and this is important because this is something I wish I would have known with delegating is a lot of
what,
people are going to ask to delegate. Make sure to set realistic expectations when you take on delegation of anybody, right? Don't
like what?
promise anyone the moon. Don't say, if you delegate this to me, I promise you I'll get you a legendary, right? Like set
Yeah,
realistic expectations. I will do X for Y. You know, I for my people out here, what I told them is I will play yours
true.
for free in exchange for energy votes for myself. With that said, I will build up your energy as much as possible and try to get as many of them as to uncommon as I can. But at no point did I say, "I guarantee anything," right?
No,
And
yeah,
that has to be understood up front because if you say, "Hey, I promise you legendary," you're gonna be paying so much money to buy votes every day, you know?
no, for real.
So, that's
Yeah,
important to set expectations.
I like that. And just going back to the whole delegation thing and best practices, you had mentioned some of the people that delegated to you, you don't even talk to on like a day-to-day basis. And I think that actually goes to speak to the value of content creation because you are someone who is creating content every day about this. And that content lives on the internet. And so, even though they may not be engaging with you in real time, um, people can actually see that the proof that you're actually tapped in. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That you're excited about this. And I think that goes to not just, I'm not encouraging everyone to be like, yo, turn on the camera, go and create content, stream every fucking day for season one, like we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily saying go and do that. What I'm saying is if you even post about it and your sentiment about it, your questions and replies to Spencer or Ben or PP Man or whoever, other people in the community, if you're dishing out votes, if you're voting on stuff, like all of those things become visible.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it also is a way you can showcase that you're actively engaged with whatever game or activation that it is. So I would say too, if you're wondering like, hey, how do I actually become someone that someone can delegate to? I would say a best practice. It's not required, but a best practice alongside so many other best practices would be create some content. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
showcase, like fire up your Twitch stream. Let people see that they're able to tap into you when you're playing this game.
Right.
Or stream it, or find other content creators to jump on their shows and stream it, just as we've been inviting community members to come on these live streams.
Well, and I'll tell you, that's a great point, Sean, because one of the people that delegated to me specifically was like, I want to see my stuff on your stream. So go
Oh
ahead and
shit.
just make sure you play it on the stream like a few times, you know? And like that was all that their ask was just like, hey, I want to see my heavy on your stream. Cool, done, simple, right? So, like, that's a value add to somebody is like, "Hey, you can create content," and now they can go, "Hey, that's my asset. It was featured on whatever," you know? So, that's a really great point, Sean, and not everyone has to do that, but there's a million ways that content can be created, whether it's, someone making a visual representation of a heavy or a
Yeah.
thread, whatever it may be.
Data, communicating data,
Yeah,
um,
Frosty's is
you
killing it
know,
with that game.
celebrating others, creating art around it. And I think those are all, even like just being creative with your own forge, even if it's not right now, there's 6 seasons of this. And I'd be curious to see some of the analytics and insights on retention and kind of the rate of which people are continuing to play or discontinuing or not continuing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm really curious on some of the insights and analytics that they're able to pull from season one.
I like
S-
the thing someone said earlier in Discord was I wish or I wonder if they're gonna reveal who downvoted you at the end, and
oh
you were
my
like
god,
immediately like, no, that would be a horrible idea. You know?
dude, there'd be literal fights on the internet.
Yeah. Bro, why'd you downvote me, dog?
Or
Oh
seeing
man.
like if someone didn't vote for vote back, like, oh man, that'd be crazy.
That would be funny.
But you
But
know
Sean,
what?
so like
I'm all for it.
yeah, A1 says 24-hour downtime will be nice, but you know, we're jumping into
Mhm.
season 2 in less than 24 hours now. What are we looking at? We're looking at 18 hours, 21 minutes till the end of season 1. Do you think when that clock resets, it's just like boom, season 2 and it just keeps going?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Fuck.
think I don't think there's gonna be a break. I
Oh
don't think there's gonna
no.
be a break. So here we are. We think we are getting season two meta tomorrow morning before season two start or after 10 a.m. PST. So
Spencer,
as
if you're
far
in
as
the room, go
meta,
ahead and comment down below.
yeah. I'd actually love to hear some speculation on what the next meta will be because
So,
there's a little bit of information that we do have.
yeah.
And I'm really curious to see like what are you anticipating with season two?
Yo, so I saw a little blurb that someone shared from the Board Ape Yacht Club Discord,
Okay.
and it suggested something along the lines of what you and I had talked about in the last few days,
Yeah.
was the voting would stay the same.
Hmm.
However, there would be alternative ways to acquire votes that did not have to do with like directly voting. So you could earn votes in a different capacity.
Or should you
That
say you can earn points toward the leaderboard?
Points towards the leaderboard. That's a better way to say it. You could earn points towards the leaderboard in different ways. So,
Okay.
you know, we had talked about that was like they had suggested battery life and energy kind of coincided and that you had to balance between battery and votes and this kind of thing. So maybe using your battery for an activity, for an action may garner you more points or different sets of points. Maybe you can get that 27 points that Frosty's always referring to, you know. But that's an interesting
Yeah.
that's an interesting one, dude.
That's how you score 27.
Yeah.
You have to have a direct decorative object.
Oh man, I'm
Yeah,
screwed.
you
I
know
have
what?
nothing
I
but
think
lines still.
yeah, I'm oh, Vicky, she has some good speculation right here.
What do we got?
You have to clean the poop from other forges. Do you think that's going to be the next meta?
I'm not cleaning anyone else's shit
No,
up.
he doesn't even clean his own poop.
Yeah, people have been coming to my thing like, "Hey, clean this up." I'm like, "Dude, there's no time for this, okay?" Like, I I literally
There's no
I don't know.
time.
Yeah, I don't know how, but now I'm playing like over well, I know how. I kept asking for it, like Sean said. So now I'm playing like I think over 40 heavy metals at the same time. I don't
God
have time to
damn.
go clean up this shit. I just next action, and then you take a rest, and you because Coda, you got to go outside because your dog's mad, or also because sometimes you'll sit down for 4 or 5 hours and realize I haven't blinked, I haven't moved, I've been stuck in the same position for 4 hours. I need to go move my body. So that's another
Yo.
thing I would say. Yo, that's another thing I would say for the grinders out there, those really competitive people, right? I'm not a team. I'm splitting this between myself and NFT Traveler. Like we've taken this on together between 3 computers. When we talked to Gabe and you know the people running the legendary team, it's a team of up to as many as 20 people I heard at one point, right? That means there's a lot more balance, a lot more time for stuff. When it's 1 or 2 people like this, I asked Vestige to come on today. He said, "Not today, dude. I can't." You know, like he's got to grind super hard. It takes a lot of energy to do all this. So
It
I've
does.
been wondering how people are going to reassess with season 2 and go forward because, you know, it's not just going to be this game like you had mentioned. It's going to be Legends of Mara simultaneously kicking off. And how much energy and time and brain brain capacity will that take from us as well? And then becomes the question of which reward is more valuable to you, right? Like that, if people do this for the monetary gain, who will decide which is the more valuable option, and then will that take people more to one side or the other? So a lot of who knows, but for me, Sean,
Yeah.
and I'm going to ask you this is why do you think that so many people are now seeing the value of the Evos? Like, do you anticipate them being rarer in the other side, lesser? Like, do you think they make it to the other side? Let's touch on that real quick.
So I feel that, oh man, this one's like freezing up on me for the first time. We'll see how it kicks back when we do this. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That's the other thing, some people are getting those double connection errors and then seeing that, their shit didn't work. It's not easy on your computers. So we'll see if this one kicks back. All right. So, all right. This is really all just kind of like an interactive mint. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just minting something and being like, here you guys go, airdrop to all the BAYC and MAYC holders, they actually developed all of these experiences for you to shape the mint.
Right.
That's kind of how I'm seeing it. So it's an experimentation on a new NFT collection that has utility on multiple games, and eventually, and this is my speculation, eventually available in the other side somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the concept of being able to grow a character and take it on to something where I own it, I want to see utility for that from here on out.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see games built around it. I want to see independent games and experiences built around heavies or accessible to heavies. And we already know Legends of the Mara, it showed Jeff, the dynamic heavy in the heavy metal trailers. He's part of Legends of the Mara. So I do feel that there's going to be
Oh, good
utility.
call.
Yeah, there's going to be utility for all of these. So if I'm already going to be playing Legends of the Mara as another example of another game that's incorporating NFTs, gaming assets, etc.,
That's interesting.
I think it's going to be worth it for me to put time in to this heavy, see what amps I might be able to secure for it so that I can grow this heavy into, an Evo 2, eventually Evo 3. And I already know there's not going to be all 30,000 people, every like 30,000 heavies that are going to get to Evo 3. I
Right.
actually anticipate probably less than 10K that actually make it to an Evo 3. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
let's say now we have a Evo 3 collection that's under 10K, and that collection has utility in Legends of the Mara and other potential activations and games. I think that's where I see the value in being
Yeah.
able to grow one of these. And if I have the opportunity to grow two of them, two or more, then I have the potential to, because I own it, I could also sell it. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I plan on having one heavy at least so that I can just, be on the other side, cause havoc, whatever I need to do, have a battle
Right.
ally, whatever that this could actually come to use for. But if I have multiple of them, I can actually invest time and energy into it and in this mint, so to speak, and
Right.
actually grow a more rare version of it that other people may see value in because there was time put into this. There was the ability to get an epic amp into this other heavy. You know
Well,
what I
let
mean?
me throw something at you as a Bored Ape holder and a a Bored Ape kennel holder and a mutant holder, right? We saw
Yeah.
that in Evo 3, there was the idea that doggos and perhaps, apes could get mixed into the Evo. So, like, imagine that you're able to have a legendary or an epic and then put that in something where it can be utilized by your dog or a character that you own. This is what I think Spencer was talking about before when he would say, like, could you imagine an object that's interchangeable in different metaverses where in heavy metal it's this one thing, but in the other side it's this other thing, but it's still the same
Mhm.
thing all the time, And now the more that we watch this unfolding, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I see. Okay, that's gonna go into that game, and it's gonna be the same that it is over here, except it'll be in a different game. So you're absolutely right, Sean. These are
Yeah.
legacy pieces that are going to be grown and cultivated and then moved wherever we choose to move them, I think.
I think it goes to speak to this larger meta game,
Hmm.
like that these become pieces, game pieces to all sorts of things that you can do and have fun with people on the blockchain,
Absolutely.
you know? And that's kind of where, it's exciting.
Sure.
It's very
Right.
speculative because I don't know of anything else that exists that has that. And
Right.
I'm really happy to know that Yuga has been well funded and are currently developing some of these experiences. So I'm all for
Yo,
it.
shout out to OX Quit getting hired by Yuga today,
Oh
or
shit, yeah,
posting
that's
that he
right.
added to the Yuga team. I'm like, I love seeing
That's a great hire right there,
well,
dude.
like, people who have been in the space providing value for a long time getting swept up by like, to me, that's like getting called up to the major leagues, like, "Oh, okay, you got that nod from
Bruh.
the big leagues. Good
It
shit. Good
makes
call."
it, yeah, dude, it makes me more bullish on the team because I feel like he has been a staple when it comes to security, helping people, and to have him on the team, I think is going to be a fantastic ad. So
Yeah,
that's a
dude.
big W for Yuga.
So what do you got going on, Sean, as we kinda wrap up the 21st day of us streaming, man? I want to say
Dude,
thank you, Sean, for I just said one day, "Hey, we're gonna stream every day for the first season," and you were like, "Okay, all right, let's do it." Like, I appreciate that because knowing you got a newborn and you got your hands full, like it's not an easy time ask. So I just want to say thank you, man, for making the
hey,
time to do this every day with me, man. Because
hell yeah.
at the end of it, I get to hang out with my best friend and talk about silly stuff. And like my mom said today, I have a weird son, so, uh
Yo,
so
man. First of all,
I just
thank
gotta
you,
provide some
man.
love for him.
And second of all, like I appreciate you as well, man, because you come up with really great ideas when it comes to content and you're able to just activate, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things I really value in partnering with you in all of this is like, yo, this motherfucker's crazy that he wants to stream this, but at the same time, I can see so much value for the rest of the community to like have a place they can come to be able to talk about this.
Yeah,
And it was also an evolution of something we were talking about prior because we're like, look, we're actually going to have a game we're going to be able to play. How can we actually take Twitter Space and the conversations with the community and mix it up with like live streaming on Twitch and YouTube of gameplay and
yeah,
just kind of create one show, where we can invite people from the community and just talk and chop it up while we're playing. And that's kind of what this is, and so it's really just us executing on it. And I hope that we can continue to do more things like this. And then also I hope to inspire more people to be able to do this so that you know it's one of those things like, hey, if we're able to do it, then anyone is, to be honest with you. So I just hope to see more of it, you know. And we got lots of really amazing content creators and people. And also, I know for a fact people probably hit you up all the time. But you know, I get hit up all the time too. Like, hey, plan on doing a Twitter space. I plan on doing more streaming. I want to do stuff with my AR filters, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, a big part of it is being the example. And Jason, you have always been a great example of
Thanks.
someone using IP, someone who's been able to like be very thoughtful with the community and get other people engaged. You have a real great sense of curiosity, and you're able to express your curiosity by bringing others into the fold and getting them involved. And you asking questions just helps people express themselves, and you've definitely helped me express myself and kind of come out of my shell as a content creator, just for the mere fact that we're both signing up to be like, it's like signing up for a marathon, and then both of us are keeping each other accountable to be like, yo,
Yeah,
we got to train and we got to run this marathon. And
bro. But I
so,
I don't know if you remember this, Sean, but when we used to play basketball at San Diego, but way back when in, four score and 20 years ago,
oh yeah, at the
I
arc.
remember Sean and I used to play 8, 9 hours a day basketball.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
insane. And I remember oftentimes, dog, where the end of it, I would be getting a little lazy. I would be getting tired. And you would just say to me, don't even play then. Like just straight up, like if you're tired, go sit down. And it always stuck with me where, like, when you're on the court, you give it everything you have, and that's how
Mm,
you and I have approached this year is whenever
fuck
we're
yeah,
on the
dude.
court, game time, the game's on, whatever, however you wanna phrase it, like, we put everything we have into that moment, right? And I value the fact that you and I have done this for a year, and the fact that after 21 days of streaming, not only are we burnt out, but simultaneously we're checking on each other. Hey, how you gonna hold up for next season? Because
Yeah,
we still
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
go. Like I get you're tired, but we still gotta go. And
yeah.
and that's what you need in this
And
space
this
is having someone.
legendary, you
Yeah,
got
bro.
this. You
Bro,
got
I think
this.
I might, but the and I thank you, but the whole thing is like have people that have your back that push you through these moments, right? And so that goes to the whole community. So many people out here checking in on each other. Hey, I know you're grinding. Are you good, right? So that's another thing I appreciate about so
Oh,
many people
remember
in
last
this
night in the
community.
Discord? You
Yeah,
know,
well,
last night
not
in the
not
Discord, like,
entirely, no.
oh shit. Well, I mean, it was just dope, like coming in and people were like, well, who needs votes? And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
boom,
That
I'm
was
on
super
who's on the
cool.
brink right now. And then boom, everyone was dishing out votes to each other, helping people on the brink.
Yeah,
And
that was
like,
rad.
to me, it just goes to show like participation is one of the most like that's one of the most beneficial things you can just do to just be in the game, show up. And sometimes without expectations, you can get rewarded, you know, just through participating. And
Yeah.
I love seeing that energy, you know, because everyone was just like, yo, I'm on the brink for Epic. I'm on this, and that. And then because we were just in the Discord together at the time, it was great to be able to dish out a lot of votes to help people secure their spot, you know, and
And
be
you're
able to
talking
sleep
more
with a little less
specifically the
anxiety.
the voice chat because there was a lot of people
That's
in the
true.
Discord, but in the voice chat, you may not feel comfortable to speak, and that's okay. Not everyone has to. But even Merkle Tree was like, "Hey, there's someone here who hasn't participated. I'm still gonna send them a vote because you're here right now."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's to the
That was
point of
sick.
sometimes just showing up is a value, right? And so don't be afraid to pop in there and ask because people take care of each other in there, and it's been very, very prevalently shown all season. And I can't wait to check back tomorrow, Sean. Tomorrow will be our last stream of the entire heavy metal series, and we'll be able to check in on people and see like what did they
We fucking
accomplish?
need it. We need to
What
hug
yeah,
it out like 1 9 says, dude.
like where did everyone go?
I
What
know.
how are you
Dude,
feeling? are you coming back for season 2?
And a lot of homies are not, you know what I mean? That's the truth, is that some people are like, yeah, I had to sell it. This isn't for me. And that's cool. That's
Right.
cool. But I think the meta is going to change. We're going to figure it out together. And I think that's also something we need to figure out, as with the team. Um, I want to. We look at Vicky. Look at what Vicky said. Anyone want to buy a Forge?
A Forge Ranger?
A Forge Ranger? Yo. So we need to figure out as a team. And speaking of team, Vicky brought this up. Thank you to both of you and NFT Traveler for putting in all the work every day. I want to just accentuate NFT Traveler. I want to also say thank you to Taylor, to Marav, to Miker. That has been kind of the extended team, just people volunteering their time and energy to help grow other space in meaningful and good way, like that's bringing, keep it positive, keep it in direction and in line with the values that we all share with each other and where we want to push this. And that's continuing to grow, and we're seeing that with the community. We're seeing people show up, and it doesn't go unnoticed, I'll tell you that. And
No, not at
so
all.
through season 2, we plan on adapting. We plan on being as dynamic as the meta is going to be in this game. And so we're going to need each other to figure out what is the best way to organize some of these channels. Do people actually need, like, for instance, here's something that goes back to the question I asked about, like, all right, the clock is, counting down. What is your strategy in the last few hours?
Right.
Right? Because I get the feeling there's going to be people who are going to need upvotes very quickly in the last hour. It's not going to be a whole lot of time to send screenshots. There's going to be downvotes that are happening. There's going to be bulk voting that's going to be needed. And a lot of this may come down to the very final hour. You know what I mean? So to be able to work with each other and facilitate some of those things in the Discord, I think are not easy to do, but they're also important. So I hope that we can pull it off, and at the very least learn how we may be able to pull stuff like that off, so that we can help each other. Because I want to see, just like as you said, early on in the first week, you said, I want, like, how dope would it be to see, like, people within our community, like, hit that leaderboard and get that legendary, right? We want to get as many people on that leaderboard as we possibly can. So for me, like, I don't knock anyone for extracting value out of their time. If you've gained energy and you want to sell your votes, by all means do that. Just not in our Discord. You do it outside and connect with people individually. But instead of selling votes, for me, like, I'm investing and putting that value right back into the community. I want to see some people win. I want to see you like secure that legendary, because that's going to be legendary. I was going to say epic.
I couldn't help it when I'd ask everyone. I'm like, send me a vote. That would be legendary. Like, how could you not?
Yeah. So it's shit like that, dude. So show up. I'm gonna definitely make some time. My strategy is to secure at least 20 points on all my heavies, and be present for people in the last hour to get those last minute votes in, and see if I can help people just get that threshold, especially if they're on the brink of a certain ranking category.
Yeah. You know how crazy it is, right? When we started the stream, I was in 11th place. And in the last hour, I've gone down to 23rd, right? And that's just because people are pumping in their votes right now. So it's going to be crazy. In order to get to 50th today, I'm going to guess it has to be over 300 votes. That's my guess.
It's the
You
last
know,
day, dude. And here's
250, 300, somewhere in that range.
and yeah, like you said earlier, season 2, the voting points, like voting will still exist, but how you end up on the leaderboard could very well change.
Right.
And so this is the last time. Do you, real quick question, do you anticipate like people dumping heavies after this, the meta
Uh,
changes for the voting?
It'll be entirely dependent on how the meta has changed, right? And the Bored Ape Yacht Club, I would imagine, is not in the service of shooting themselves in the foot
Yeah.
by giving the holders a reason not to hold it. So I think what they're going to do is tweak the purpose of what you can do. So maybe it will be something like I don't even want to speculate on what it could be because we've done that so much over the last 21 days,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's going to be a big dump. I think what's going to happen is people are going to panic sell ones that they either are over it because they're like, oh, this is going to be another 21 days. I'm not doing this. That'll happen. There'll be people who just don't feel the amps will be worth the time ask and go like, you know what, I'm gonna just sell these and buy the amps at the end from somebody. There's going to be a lot of that. Then there's going to be people who decide I'm digging my heels in and I'm getting 3 legendaries, whatever that takes. So like for me, I'm kind of in the situation where I'm just trying to get through this season. I'm trying to accomplish my goal of legendary amp for this. And then I told the people that I'm delegated to that when this season's over, let's revisit what next season looks like with new expectations because new rules should be available to us as well, right? So we
Yeah.
can't price, discover, understand what the next game will be and what the ask will be for anyone until we have some more rules in front of us. So
I think that's fair, dude. For those of you that are playing, there's no rush to connect all 4 portals. In fact, we're getting some really good tips. This one's from Joseph, who is part of the team that's managing Heavy Metal #1, the legendary one, as seen on the front page of heavymetal.com. When they land first place, it'll show up. That's one of the perks, is if you get first, you show up on the front page. But if a lot of people by the end of season 1 are probably in this position, if you're expanding to the 3rd portal in heavy metal, this will save you dozens of hours and thousands of gears. Everyone's looking away for optimizing their energy generation and upgrade their portals as quickly as possible. The best strategy so far has been to keep few tiles as possible at the highest level so that it doesn't drag down your average tile level. Everyone's building the tiles necessary to activate the portals and then destroy them right after. If you're a new player, you only need 4 tiles to connect to the first portal, but you need 10 tiles to activate it. So if you keep the 10 tiles, it will take you a long time to reach the tile average needed to increase the level of the portal. But if you destroy them, then you can level up just 4 of them, which will increase your average tile level. Now, with the first portal unlocked, it's time to increase the level of your 4 tiles until you reach the max level possible for your first portal. So you want to just max out how many you can do with how many upgrades you can do on this first portal and just keep upgrading those 4 tiles. Once you do that, you're going to eventually need 500,000 energy to level up the portal, but your max capacity is 305. So that will get you to create and connect it to the second portal. You only need 5 tiles to reach it, but you need 30 tiles to activate it. So you apply the same strategy, you build all those tiles up, 30 tiles, and then destroy it except for the 5 that are needed, right? So Here's where it gets really interesting. And this is where I think a lot of people are at. Also, be ready to spend a considerable amount of energy and time to evolve your portals and tiles. When the energy needed to evolve your portal is greater than the capacity of your forge, it's time to unlock the third portal. Here's the best way to do that. This is where you should make a decision that goes against the strategy that everyone has been using so far. You have two options: either connect with the portal next to the entrance of the rift right here using 6 tiles, or cross the entire map using 10 tiles to the 4th portal. Everyone's taken this obvious path to connect it to the 6 tiles. But here's why you should unlock the portal on the other side of the map and use the longer path. So I think this is really important, especially if you have yet to connect to one of these 2 portals up here. So we will be able to enter the rift only in the 4th season. And we're at the end of the 1st season. Connecting to the rift now will not bring you any benefit, and you'll have plenty of time to unlock it over the next 2 seasons. Each portal will give you a power up once the heavy goes through it. The portal besides the rift gives you Vibin, which makes your heavy work 20% faster without getting cranky and lasts only 5 minutes. Doesn't seem very efficient, right? They're cranky all the time anyway. So Vibin is like a really weak power up. You know what I mean? So if you go unlock this, you get Vibin every time the heavy returns from the portal. But on this portal down here, it gives you clean slate and no shit. And so when your heavy returns from the portal, it automatically cleans your entire forge and it repairs all of your portals, including the one that it just left. So I think that is really clutch. It's something you should consider. Your forge will run 24/7 without thousands of clicks. Thank me later. As a bonus, your heavy doesn't shit for half an hour, which is a great relief because everyone who has been playing until now knows that these robots shit a lot. And then the extra 4 tiles that you had to build to reach the portal will make a huge difference because of these power-ups. So when you decide to unlock the 4th portal, you will only need 3 more tiles to connect it, and you still end up with fewer tiles. So really awesome thread by Joseph and, from the team that's running Heavy Metal Legendary #1. He's super active in the Other Space FM Discord. Really awesome people. They are dedicated to not buying. They have a strict policy for not buying or selling votes for #1. And I really appreciate that. So, Joseph, following you from the Other Space FM account now. Thanks for tweeting that. I think it's really helpful for everyone to hear as they approach season 2.
No, that's great, man. Because a lot of it is okay. I've gotten 1 and 2 done. I that makes sense to me. That's where I was at earlier. I'm like, shoot, now which third portal do I decide to go to? Because that really makes a big difference, And hearing that the 10 tile build to that one across is more valuable because of the bonus, and that makes sense. So I'm looking at the ones that I have now and going like, okay, how am I going to make this work? Because today, like you said, is the last day. We're trying to set ourselves up for success, for a strong finish in many cases, but for many others, they're just going to continue on, right? So, I think for me today, for the rest of the day, it's just making sure that I secure that legendary at all cost, and making sure that as many of the ones that I've been delegated to, I can get to uncommon. And that's kind of what I'm going to be working on until tomorrow at 10. That's it.
All right. Good luck, dude. Secure that legendary, dude. I think you were breaking up a little bit. It seems like it was a little choppy.
Yeah, my computer is probably exhausted right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to your heavies. To everyone in the chat, really appreciate you pulling up. It's not going to be a whole lot of downtime between season 1 and season 2. In fact, I think it goes right into season 2. So let's figure out the next meta together and meet us in the Discord. Feel free to come lurk in the VC as well as just join the conversation at any time. It's probably one of the easiest ways to get some votes exchanged, but we're certainly going to be figuring out what the new meta is going to be and coming up with like a game plan and strategy for that. You can visit otherspace.fm, the website, and we have a Discord link at the top and the bottom of the website. So feel free to join us there. With that being said, Jason, I wish you the best of luck securing this legendary. And to every single person who's out there grinding, I hope you're able to grind and get the amp that you were gunning for. In the last, few hours, join us in the Discord. We got some people that are helping each other out. Some people are pretty secure in their placement, and so there's definitely some votes. So if you're looking for it, really great way to connect with the community. That being said, appreciate everyone for joining, and we'll see you again soon, right? I
Yeah,
don't know when.
last stream tomorrow, and then
Okay, tomorrow.
then we'll figure it out. Later, guys.
Yeah. All right, peace.